Hi everybody and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. I hope you don't mind, but I have my slatted blinds or shades open. It's an absolutely beautiful day here and you can see the sun coming in, and I think it'll be kind of fun because I'm going to be doing, let's turn this light out here, that might help. I'm going to be doing a woodland scene. And I think it would be kind of fun to have the shadows come in, just like when you're walking through the woods or you're taking a nice stroll on a garden path. So I'm not going to adjust my shade. So I hope this will be okay for y'all. And I thought we would have some fun in the Color Cube Collage this week. It's been a little bit since I've done one. And I just randomly pulled card 170. So I would love to have you stick around and see. This is going to be something totally different. Not sure how it's going to come out. I never do. I have a little idea in my head, but just don't know if I can pull it off. So again, I'd love to have you stick around. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And I would love to have you, if you enjoy this video, I'd love to have you leave a comment. Think about subscribing, joining my little family here. For everyone who is returning, welcome back. I totally appreciate you all, and I am very grateful for all of you. And a big shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. So this is card 170, and like I said, I literally just pulled it. And the colors this week, Camel, Tawny Brown, Coffee, Apple Green, and Dark Green. And I just thought they were really interesting. You know, very earthy, really cool colors. So this is what I have pulled. I will set that right there in the bright sunshine. Now the last one that I did, it's going to be, this was my last one, and this will be the next page. So it's going to be a really different contrast when I flip the pages, okay? I'm going to set that there for a minute. So again, this is what I have pulled. I have pulled, the first thing I did was I grabbed my Edith Holden, The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. And I found this page in there, and I really like it because the leaves, they have all of these different shades of browns. The Camel, the Tawny Brown, and the Toffee. So I'm going to have a little bit of cutting to do, so I will break away and do that. So I've pulled this page here. I have also pulled this one here, okay? And I think this, you know, this little tiny bit of beige and whatever. We've got the greens, not necessarily as dark. I'm going by a guide with this. We've got some of the apple green right up in here, but I think that is a really fun page to use. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull, because this is on a seam, I'm going to take this entire page right out. Okay. We will set this aside. And I would like to use either a section of this. I don't think I'll be able to use the whole thing. So we have these here. Then I have this sweetheart right here out of my Pinup Girl book. And I may have to close these blinds because there is the real apple green. But I thought she was a real sweetheart, and she has an apple green dress on. I have a little bit here. This came again out of the back of the Edwardian Lady book. I printed these cuties out. This is from Collage Soup. All of these sweet little elves here. And I have a toadstool. I have a couple toadstools. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use yet. I have this little forest friend, this little cute little squirrel with his nuts and leaf. Then this is from Collage Soup too. I printed this out, but again, this is on typewriter paper. I wanted it kind of grungy. So you can see I have a real variety of items here, and I'm just going to play. We'll see where this is going to go. So first up, the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to step away and I'm going to do all of my cutting. Then once I have everything cut out, I will be back and then we will start to create. All right, so I'm going to say welcome back, or I'm back. It's actually the next day. Yesterday it was such a beautiful, today's Sunday. I started this on Saturday, and it was such a beautiful afternoon. I decided to go outside and do all my fussy cutting. And then one thing led to another. My husband and I ended up playing cornhole for a little bit, and then it was time for dinner, and I had to come in and start cooking. So I just figured that let me finish this the next day. But I'm glad that I did, because I was able to really think about the composition and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. Sometimes you just don't want to rush your collaging. So again, this is the card. It's number 170, and the colors are Camel, Tawny Brown, Coffee, Apple Green, and Dark Green. So I believe I have everything here. Now, the first thing I want to do, because I always like to leave a little bit of fussy cutting to show you how you can. It's pretty easy to maneuver an X-Acto knife. Some gals and guys, mostly gals, have said to me, you know, I have a hard time and such. The other thing I wanted to show you is I want to use these sweet little elves, and I needed them smaller. And if there are those out there that aren't sure how to create a smaller image, it's very, very easy. There's nothing to it. This is the paper that I cut these from, okay? So this measures 5 by 7, but I didn't cut the bot. I didn't make the 7, all right? So it's probably 5 by 8.5 or whatever. This is the original on a full piece of paper. This is 8.5 by 11, and this is how the images come out. By reducing your paper size to a 5 by 7 or 4 by 6, you can see the difference in sizing. So if you are looking for smaller images for a project, just drop your the size of your paper down. You don't have to resize the image or take 1 or 2. You can just resize the paper. Again, this is full paper, 8.5 by 11. This is how they come out. And when I changed it to 5 by 7, I got just the sizes that I was looking for. So that's a little tip there. Okay, I'm going to set that aside so those sweet little faces don't get smushed. All right, and then the other thing, like I said, I'm just going to finish cutting this out, and then I'll show you everything I have. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this out on my warped board, and I'm not buying a new one. I don't need a new one. I should stick this out in the sun and then put something really heavy on it. I warped it when I was making, what was I? I was heating something up with my heat gun. So, seeing that today is Sunday, hope everybody had a great Saturday. I hope you have an even better Sunday. And I got up this morning. I was following a little bit of Hurricane Helen down in Florida, and I watched one video before I went to bed last night, and it's so upsetting. My heart goes out to these people. I watched one on Siesta Key. I've been to Siesta Key. And this storm was just devastating for these people. And this morning I watched one. I don't remember where it was. I sent it to my son though. And this sweet little town, beach town, whatever you want to call it, it literally was devastated. I mean, flattened. It looked like a war zone. It looked like a bomb had gone off. And I don't know how these people are going to recover. My heart goes out to all of them. I just can't imagine. I've never been through anything like that. I would never want to go through anything like that. And it is just, it's heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. So they all need to be put in my prayers. I just don't know how you recover from something like that. I really don't. Livelihoods, beach cabins, these people that had beach cabins to rent out, and that they're gone. They are literally, everything's been flattened. It's going to be years before these people recover, even if they rebuild. They may not even rebuild there. Okay, so that's all I have for fussy cutting. I've done everything else. So it's not that difficult to cut something out. Of course, the smaller you get, it does become a little more tedious. Okay, so let me show you everything here that I have. Actually, let me show you after. I'm going to get, I want to get this down. There, so I have my paper down, and what I did was I took this out after I saw how the ink is coming off on this. I didn't do it to the sides, but I took this out, and I remembered my mom had an acrylic spray from years ago, and I mean years ago, down with her decoupage bin. And I brought this out to my potting shed. I attached it to just a plain piece of paper, and I sprayed it really well with acrylic sealer, and I really like the way this came out, and I don't have to worry about anything coming off, running, etc. or whatever. So I have the papers down, and then we can continue with the collage. So I think this will be this is going to be a really cute one. So these, let me show you the other images. I went and I did, I finished cutting this gal out here, who is just adorable. She's got a little mark there. That came with her. I didn't do that. So we have that, and then I have some wings here. I have my little squirrel gathering his nuts for winter. You saw me, we cut the rest of this out. I have a couple of the toadstools that we're going to be using. This is just going to be a really cute woodland scene. And I love all the little fairies on here. I have all of these leaves cut out, and I have them distressed around the edges to get rid of some of the white. This one I didn't. And I don't mind if a little bit of the white comes through. Then I have our little elves here, and I have one apple that needs to be attached back on here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is, I always like to talk this through. I know there's a lot of collage gals out there. They collage, they speed up, they put theirs to music. Very relaxing. But I just like to go through the process with everyone, especially if you're a beginner in collage art or something you didn't think of something, and I can bring it to your attention. This was attached right here, okay? And I cut this off because this is where I'm going to have my gal right here. And I would like to use this in another section. I could actually put it up here if I wanted to. So we will figure that out afterwards. But I want to get her down. Now, she was leaning on a stool in her in the magazine there, and I decided, because this is a woodland, I want her to be leaning on a mushroom. Now I have a couple mushrooms here. I have this one here, and where is my other one? I have this one here. So when you're thinking about something like this, you kind of have to think, okay, is it going to be a puff stool, or is it going to be a flat stool she's going to be hanging out on? What will fit her body the best? All right. I'm going to just cut her. Just going to make a little indentation there. So I'm going to try both of these. I kind of know which one I'm going to use. This one would work out just fine, her leaning right here, but I don't like all of this around here. I don't think it goes that well. Let's try this one. I think this one might be a little more subtle. Where you still know that this is, see, I don't mind that hanging out there. What I am going to do is I would like to use this section here somewhere. So I'm going to cut this off because this is kind of buried in here. And we can put this in another section, okay? And I chose this background paper here because of the fairies dancing in the forest. It's just very muted. I wanted her to be the focal, especially with that apple green. Okay. So we have to bring her up just a little bit because of her foot. I do not want to get rid of her foot. And I might even bring her over just a little bit. Now, the position of her is all determined on these wings, all right? So when you're working on a collage like this, don't get too ahead of yourself. And I think this will be fine, like this. And I have Matt to thank. I need to thank him for these butterfly wings he sent me in a little compilation of goodies. So I'm going to add these wings to her right now. So when you do collage art, you do kind of have to think, you know, I look at it kind of like a chess game where you have to think the steps ahead. All right. Isn't she cute? All right. And then with her foot, it just misses the crease. So I think this is perfect placement for her. So I'm going to first attach her fingers, okay, down so she can just grasp. And I just put a little dot here, and then I'll get this set. Looking for my little tweezers. So I'm just going to have to do what my mom did all the time and use a little wet fingertip. All right, so that is there. know where my tweezers went. Probably with my glasses, my social security card, my old one. I did get my here's my tweezers. I did get my social security card. Oh, and by the way, I cleaned my desk last night. That's the one thing that I did. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I want to put her in place, but I don't want to glue her all the way down. Only for the fact that I don't have a glue. I'm going to be tucking some things under her, so I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue right there. I want to bring this up so I don't mess her foot up. I'm going to bring her down as far as I can. All right, so that is just fine right there. And I'm just getting her somewhat even, and I'm getting her even based on this kissing around the world, okay? That's how I can tell if she's straight, just by this here. If this wasn't here, I wouldn't care. All right, so there is our, we'll call her our fairy godmother, okay? So now the next thing I want to do is I want to add these mushrooms right here. And I do know I want these behind her like this. And we're going to have her take a little bit off down here. And maybe I can use these little baubles somewhere else. And like I said before, I really like collaging because it just really makes you think. It makes you think about the entire composition. And I'm going to put, actually, I'm going to put her behind that toadstool because these will be coming in front of her. Because she's behind this one and ahead of this one sitting. So we can, not going to glue this all down. Just going to put a little tiny bit here just to hold it in place. Okay, so that will go there like that. All right. And then I'm going to cut just this little bit off right there. And then what I might even do is I might cut this one off here and just add that to there. The reason I'm taking off that little bit, the way this creased, I thought it would be a hindrance, but if I add this one here like this, it'll be, I think the creasing of this will be a little bit better. So I'm going to add this one right down here. So like I said, when you collage, sometimes you just have to, and that goes with anything. If you're a card maker, and you like to collage on the front of your cards, you still have to think about your layering and how you want it all to work. So it's just not collaging sometimes that you have to think about, you know, your steps ahead. Okay, there, okay. And we can do away with that. And we can do away with that. We don't need those. Okay, so that's good. All right, so next, I want to get my squirrel down over here. Isn't he sweet? And I thought we would put him right over here. And again, I'm just going to tack him down. Now, remember, I have a lot of questions as to what glue I'm using. This is Art Glitter Glue. Dries clear adhesive, permanent. You know, it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and the first thing is fructose corn syrup. Well, you don't want to buy that. But you need to be aware it's in there. However, I look at this, permanent. That's the first statement. This is permanent. So just by even putting this little tiny bit down, you are not going to get this back up. I call this liquid cement because, like I said, once it's down, it does not come up. So if you want to tack something down and move it later, use a glue stick. Do not use this. I just know I want that there, so that's where it's going to be. Okay, so the next thing we are going to, because she loves her fruit, and there are fruit trees in the forest, so we are going to get this branch. And I could actually, I don't have to have that like that. I can have it like this, but I do like it over here. And if I wanted to, I could even move this over a little bit more. So I'm going to start it right here at first, because I have a piece of a branch right over here, and I can cut this, because that would end right about there. And if I wanted to bring this over more, I could attach this here like this, cut it at a different angle. And I'm just showing you how you can do this. And I could actually add a leaf over here to extend it. I could put the leaf like this if I wanted to. And I could extend it like this. So there's different ways that you can do things such as this if you want to extend something. I'm not going to in this case because I like this just the way it is. So again, I think I can glue this down, but I'm going to wait because I don't know if I'm going to tuck anything behind here, leaves, or anything like that. So I'm just going to tack this down. And again, we're going to, I like to fold and make a little crease. Okay. All right. This I'm not going to tack down just yet. Might put a leaf under there or whatever. All right, so we have our little squirrel there. Now I want to attach these leaves, and I want to attach so I could actually cut this. I could add this to the bottom, and I could add this here like this. So I could add that, and then I could put that there like that, which I think I will do. So that's another thing. If you feel that you have a piece that, you know, it's out there, you're not quite sure, you don't think it looks right, take bits and pieces from another section and rebuild. that like that. And this I am going to tack down. And I think that acrylic spray helped tremendously, because I believe that if I hadn't used it, if the glue hit this at all, the paint would be coming off, and it's not. So I'm really pleased about that. Okay, all right, so there's that. Okay, now we want to add some leaves. And I think we will add them over around here. We put one there. And I like adding these because it just adds kind of a foresty, you know, the leaves are just brittle and old, and because there's all kinds of leaves in a forest. And I don't mind here if they're hanging over. I probably will not cut them off. This one I think is too big. I can add this in another. I will keep this for another project, and I'll keep this for another project. So I'm going to tack these down. This one I can just glue. When I get everything in place, I'll just pause this, and I will make sure everything is glued down good. Because again, you don't need to see me glue. But I think this is important that you see this part here. Okay, so those are down. All right, okay. Now we're going to take these sweet little elves, because they are part of the forest, and this is their fairy godmother. So we are going to, and they are just looking at her so lovingly. And they're peeking out from little places here. So this little one's looking up at her like this. Let's see. This one I think we're going to put right here. Behind the ferns peeking out. Ha! And this one, where do we want this one? They're looking up at her. They're all looking this way. I think maybe I will put that one there. Isn't that sweet? I just think this is the cutest little collage. I'd love to have another one up here by her. Let's try this little one. Let's see if we can make this one fit, or if it's too much. Oh, all right, so we can chat a little bit while I'm So I hope everybody has a very productive week. I'm going to have a busy one. I told you in my last video I had a couple announcements to make. I can tell you one. I told my gals over on Patreon. I did an exclusive video over there, and so they already know. I've gone back to work. And it was the advice of my accountant, who's our personal friend too. Actually, today's his birthday. We're supposed to be going to dinner with him and his wife and son and daughter-in-law. I haven't heard anything yet. But, and my husband, we all thought it was best if I come back to work. I have a way about me that I can get things done, and I can make sure those who are doing those tasks get them done on a timely basis. So I'm back to work. And it's actually kind of exciting. I mean, I worked for 14 years for my husband when we first got married. I actually ran a stone quarry for him. That was only when I got pregnant I stopped working. If I hadn't gotten pregnant, I would have continued to work. I really enjoyed it. So I'm just going to work mornings, maybe an hour in the afternoon. It's just going to depend. Like tomorrow, which you're seeing this actually Monday. So today when you're watching this, I'm actually in our stone quarry. My boys and I are going out because they will be taking over the business, and it's just a big transition. So my two boys and I will be out at the quarry doing what we have to do. And yeah, it's exciting. Do I want to go back to work? No, but I got to have my hubby's back too. All right, so I like this little one here as well. I think that's adorable. The only thing I want to do is I want to ink this little bit of white spot up a little bit more. So my videos should not be affected. I just have to make sure that I'm really super organized now. And I think everything will be okay. So you're not going to miss out on anything. The content is not going to change. The time of my videos is not going to change. I'm not going to be shortening anything. My husband knows how important this is for me to continue to do and grow and be with all of you. So, yeah, I just have to make sure that I am super duper organized. And winter will be, when winter comes, we don't, there's not a lot that goes on out at the quarries. So nothing should change at your end. It's all changing here at my end. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to tack these down so I know where they... And you'll notice where I left, this was the other thing I wanted to tell you. See where I leave an extra bit of white here? And I did it on these. When you're cutting images, make sure you do that because it depends on how far down in you want to tuck them. And see, it gives you an option of raising them up a little bit more or continuing to tuck them down inside. So I'm going to step away. I'm going to get this all glued down and we will finish up and we will move on. There, so I have it all glued down, and here is our card 170 out of the Color Cube Collage box. And I just think this is so, so adorable. I mean, look at the little eyes. Look at how they just are lovingly looking at her, because I think she's looking straight on, like, you see, do you see, do you see? But they are just so, I just think this is so cute. So yeah, here is all of the, look at that. Aren't they adorable? All hiding and in the forest, just adoring their little fairy godmother. So that is this week's Color Cube Collage. Like I said, I hadn't done one in a while. And I think this just really, I just think this is great for this time of year with autumn and fall and the wood. All the deer are coming out and the squirrels are gathering their food for winter. So in the description, I will list where you can purchase the book that this image came out of. I will put in the collaging images here where they all came from. I'll put the book in here. I think that will, I'm trying to get better about that. I'm not real good about doing it. I'll put my glue in there. So that is it. I would love to have everyone have a fabulous week. If you do pray, please pray for everybody in Florida along that west coast. It is just, it's devastating. I can't even imagine how they're going to move forward. They will, but it is just a devastating time for all of them. And I want everyone to have a wonderful, blessed week. Enjoy your family. Have a great work week. Stay positive, stay healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.